I actually have something nice to say about a Republican, and this is covering the hearings on Kristi Noem, Ice Barbie, and this is Thom Tillis.
So why am I disappointed with Secretary Noem? Because we're not going after enough people who did this damage at the expense of running numbers that Stephen Miller wants out of the White House. We just want numbers. We want 1,000 a day, 6,000 a day, 9,000 a day because numbers matter, right? No, they don't matter.
No, they
Quality
don't.
matters, not quantity, quality. And what we've seen is a disaster. Under your leadership, Ms. Noem, a disaster. What we've seen is innocent people getting detained that turn out are American citizens. I could talk about the culture that's been created here with Stephen Miller aiding and abetting. I heard first reports that he was the one that said it was a domestic terrorist situation where 2 people lost their lives in Minneapolis. I've heard.
And the thing is, I watch these hearings, and she refuses to admit to any wrongdoing, to any mistakes even. They're grabbing up American citizens? Oh, no, they're not. Not really. Those American citizens must have been doing something to impede the lawful investigations of ICE, which is BS.
That report. Maybe you can refute it. I don't know that we'll have time for you to respond because I'm giving you a performance evaluation here. I'm not looking for a response.
It's quite the performance evaluation.
Time after time after time, I've been disappointed. But before I get back to looking at the vicious people that did.
I'm going to pause because we're not going to go into what a failure she is with FEMA. Okay, now we're going back to Minneapolis.
Going back to Minneapolis. Why can't we just say we made a mistake? I will ask you one question, if you could just give me a quick response. Who does Tom Holman work for? You or the president?
The president.
Okay. Why is that? Because I believe the president recognized that you weren't getting it done in Minneapolis, and you're putting us further away from pointing to this. We're beginning to get the American people to think that deporting people is wrong. It's the exact opposite. The way you're going about deporting them is wrong. The fact that you can't admit to a mistake, which looks like under investigation, is going to prove that Miss Good and Mr. Pretty probably should not have been shot in the face and in the back.
You think?
Law enforcement needs to learn from that. You don't protect them by not looking after the facts. Not only should the FBI be investigating it, but every single law enforcement agency in that jurisdiction should be invited to it. So our law enforcement officers do not have this Paul.
I really wish they'd show her face.
ICE officers are having threats, and damn the people that threaten ICE officers because so many of them are doing a good job, is because you've cast a pall on them by acting like we should investigate things differently. Officer-involved shootings have a formula that we should go through every time. And we're not going through that formula. As a matter of fact, in Ms. Good's case, I think that they were even saying that maybe there wasn't even a need to do it in the DOJ. I hope that that's changed. But I'm telling you, it was a civil rights review. I saw your frown. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But originally, Blanche said there wouldn't be an investigation.
I'm going to pause
Folks,
here in a minute.
Law enforcement, we've got to have their back. We've got to make it clear when they make a mistake, then they get corrected for it.
Pause the wrong thing. Okay, here we go again.
But you don't walk away from it, and you've done it too many times. Now, Secretary, I read your book last week.
This is my favorite part.
And honestly, some of the parts of it impress me, but some of it distresses me. And I'll give you a good example of one that does. The passage where you talk about killing a dog that was 14 months old. I train dogs, all right? And you are
I've trained dogs in my past.
You should know that if you're going out to a hunting lodge and you're putting pheasants out and you're putting dogs out, you don't take a puppy out there. A 14-month-old dog is basically a teenager in dog years. You decided to kill that dog because you had not invested the appropriate time in training, and then you have the audacity to go into a book and say it's a leadership lesson about tough choices. It's in your book. We could play it if we had time. At that same lunch hour, you killed a goat. And you killed the goat because you said it was behaving badly. You are a farmer. You don't castrate a goat. They behave badly. You should have probably done that before. But my point is, those are bad decisions made in the heat of the moment, not unlike what happened up in Minneapolis. I expect we're an exceptional nation. And one of the reasons we're exceptional is we expect exceptional leadership. And
we don't have exceptional leadership, though. We have a 30-some-odd count felon who is adjudicated felon, mind you, convicted felon, I think that's the word, and adjudicated sexual assaulter, and named over and over and over again in the Trump Epstein files. That's what we've got. And he chose Ice Barbie because she pew-pewed her dog and her goat, because, you know, like a dog, they croaked like a dog and all of that. That's what we've got. We have an embarrassment to this country, and we have a bunch of Republicans who are complicit either in what those files are talking about or other horrible crimes, but they're all willing to let our young men and women in the military be unalived in order to continue to cover up for his crimes. At least Thom Tillis called out Ice Barbie on some of the crimes that she is committing, because ignoring our Constitution, I think, should be considered a crime. Anyway, I do hope to see in the future Democrats take power, and if they do, that they will prosecute every one of the enablers to this administration, because none of them are above the law. But hang on to your sanity. And again, way to go, Thom Tillis. I guess some Republicans do have a brain.